Manja, and my company is Boost. I founded Boost a few years ago to solve a problem that felt very personal to me. I just want to give you a little bit of the backstory just about who I am, because I think that I'm always curious about that, how people get into stuff like this. So my dad had a construction company. He focused predominantly on historic restoration, and I worked in the shop, on the job sites for him when I was a kid, like teen, once I was legal enough to work. A lot of it was paint stripping, wood restoration, replication of wood pieces and components and parts and plaster, a lot of like historic window manufacturing. So I worked in the shop, on the job sites, and had that employee experience. At the time, his crew was around 25, so he was at that point where there were multiple sites and supervisors and foremen and then all the crews. So I got to feel that employee experience in the trades. I really liked it. I liked the work a lot. But then the other side of it was I was at home in the evenings around the dinner table hearing the challenges of running a business like that, and I actually helped my dad get his company's books onto QuickBooks back in the late 90s. So I was actively involved and interested in the company, and he just was a great craftsman, amazing practitioner, but not such a strong business person, and didn't really know how to lead through supervisors and create kind of this great employee experience. Although he was a good employer, he lost great people, and that was a real shame, and I think a lot of that could have been avoided. So I have a professional career in learning and development. So I worked in corporate training. I worked for all of the biggest brands in North America that you can think of, doing leadership development, coaching training, sales training, you name it. So I had this whole corporate life, and then when I founded Boost, I really wanted to be part of the skilled trades challenge that we have in Canada. So we're on a mission to do that, and really growing and expanding. We went from 1-2 staff to 10 this year, and we're probably going to double this year as well in staff. So we're really growing, and we're getting some amazing clients who really need help in the employee experience side of things. So really firmly in the HR and the training and that modernization effort in the office, and then trickling out into the field. So that's a little bit about me and the journey here, because a lot of people say, how did you get into working only with skilled trades companies? It's so kind of interesting, but that's where it kind of came around. So I want to be able to take the learnings from big corporate and then right size them for businesses that are growing, that have the 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, and really are in that growth mode, because you do have to start getting your ducks in a row before you can grow well. Otherwise it's just very painful, and you usually cap and then you have to shrink back, or just it's mayhem. So today what I wanted to talk about was retention. That was kind of what was on the topic list around keeping employees, recruiting, making sure they have the right skills, and onboarding is going to have a pretty big focus in that, because I think it's a nice way to tackle the start of the journey for employees, and it can help set the wheels in motion for what does ongoing training look like. But without a great onboarding experience, 29% of people leave, which is like a pretty shocking stat. But on the flip side, 65% of people will stay 3 or more years if they've had a great onboarding experience. And I think a lot of that is contributed to the fact that a company who is already thinking about this and caring about this is doing other great things. I don't think it's only the onboarding, but I think that's just the start of the journey. So if you imagine, your first day at the job, any job, at the end of the day you go home and you're going to say to your husband, wife, mom, whoever is in your home, they're going to say, how was your day? Right? And if you're like, it was amazing, I'm really excited to be here, this happened, that happened, that's a really great first start. But if you're like, honestly, I don't even know, I kind of, nobody really interacted with me that much, and then I wasn't really sure where to hang my coat. It was kind of uncomfortable. They're like, oh, what are you gonna do? I'm not really sure yet. You know, that's not a positive way to start. So those first impressions really matter. I'm curious if any of you have employee retention challenges. Do you have employees leave very often?